All right, one of the sessions we didn't plan for, but we thought after the feedback to Warren Spector's talk and John Romero's talk was so good from you, and you had so many questions, we thought we put together a fireside chat. So I want to introduce on stage Christian Heilmann, who's actually going to go over there and sit there and interview them. Christian has been a web developer for over 35 years and now works for WeAreDevelopers and sits on stage and reads things from an iPad. And hopefully we'll have interesting questions for the two people coming in right now, which is Mr. John Romero. "100% sure we caught him chatting, and he was like, oh my God, I gotta get out now."
All right.
I want to apologize, first of all, for the trousers and anybody who's blinded by them. But good to see you every single year. It's wonderful.
Every single year, yeah.
Sadly enough, we didn't have time for a competition.
Yeah, no Doom tournament this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I beat you some other day. Yeah. And then we get Warren Spector in.
Perfect.
I think my favorite bit was like how you were heartbroken that he wasn't here on the first day, and he's like, "Oh, I would have loved to meet John," and now we met them. It was really hard to put microphones on them because they were chatting away the whole time back there. Like, it's great to see people that have lots of stories to tell and lots of history together as well. So, bomb check or bubble bobble?
What was that?
Which was the better ones?
Did you say bubble bobble?
Yeah.
What about it?
Oh, God.
I have no idea what's going on right now, by the way, so if you're confused, join the club.
Arcade games.
Okay.
C64, come on, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
He goes
C64.
back further than I do, which is kind of incredible.
Great. So we have questions coming in from people, that's good. What advice would you give an aspiring indie game dev? I guess that's more for you at the moment, or let's get started with you. What's your advice for an indie game dev?
Indie developer, I would say don't try to imitate anybody else. The most exciting thing about the indie scene right now is that that's where all the innovation is coming from. Just to ensure I never work again, I'll say that's where all the interesting things are coming from. You folks have an opportunity to blaze a new trail, to break new ground. So I think the most important thing is do something original, do something, frankly, that you burned to do. This guy gave me the opportunity to do that, and the results were pretty good, I think. And you have the same opportunity now to do that.
Yeah, with indie game dev, go to the indie game festivals to get energized, because there's so many games out there that indies are creating, and those are the games that fuel the future. And if you have the chance to go to Indiecade in California, it's just incredible the amount of indie games that they have there. And you really get it. You can see, like, there's so many ideas being thrown at the wall in these indie fests. You know, the IGF at GDC.
Oh,
you know,
that's my favorite part of GDC.
It is. Indies are our lifeblood. I mean, we've been indies our whole life, pretty much, unless we're working at Origin.
Yeah, or Electronic Arts, or
but when you're working at your own
places
company,
we won't talk about.
So, what is an innovation that came from an indie game that actually became a mainstream staple?
It's funny. Like, I guess the shooter. You know, maybe the shooter. You know, Wolfenstein, Doom.
Yeah, Deus Ex. You know, but I mean, Subnautica.
Yeah.
I try not to talk about other people's games. Darn it. But I mean, roguelikes. I mean, there are all sorts of things.
Yeah, roguelikes, like Minecraft, right? Like, Minecraft is like a cool 3D version of, well, we'll say Rogue, right, which came out in 1980, but was not the very first roguelike. It was called Beneath Apple Manor in 1978. That was the first roguelike. And it should be BAM-like, right? Beneath Apple Manor-likes.
I'm going to say, this guy knows more about game history than anybody on the planet. It's like really intimidating being up here. But survival games, I mean, look at pretty much everything other people are imitating now. And it didn't come from the big companies. It came from indies. So again, keep that up. Keep the fire burning.
The game industry was created by indies. Back in the early days, in the late 70s and the early 80s, publishers were one or two people, right? And they accepted submissions from all the bedroom programmers out there and published big games like the Ultima series and Wizardry and you name it. All the big franchises came from someone working at home and sending it to publisher. It was a few people, and it got into the stores, and bam, you have a game industry.
In a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, in a Ziploc baggie, just hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those.
And then people buy Ferraris. Go figure.
Yeah, crazy.
Interesting. What were the worst nightmares when you were developing games in the past?
It's nice talking to you. See you later.
Just say John.
Oh, yeah.
No. I love this guy. Again, just ensuring I never work again. It's interference from non-gamers. There are a lot of people very highly placed in a lot of companies who are just out to make a buck, and that's not. It's worse now than it used to be, but it's not something new. And again, I don't mean to keep patting this guy on the back, but I mean he promised me no creative interference, and lived up to that. That's where great things go. Again, be an indie, where you don't have to worry about guys in suits with quarterly profits they need to make. That's probably the worst.
But that's general a software thing, isn't it? I mean, I had the same in any software that I've written. Like when we talk about AI-generated code, like, oh, it makes you faster to write code. And I'm like, I wish I had more time to write code, because most of the time I sit in meetings talking about which code we should be writing rather than like writing the code.
You don't want to see my schedule.
Okay, that was the worst nightmares. What advice would you give an aspirant? We got that. Somebody wants a duck. I've got more ducks later, so come to me when I give the talk later on and I bring you another duck. Good questions to answer. What? What's the most important ingredient to create a cult classic? That's probably, well, both of you.
You have to have passion.
Yeah.
You have to have passion. You have to have intensity, passion, focus, believe in it, execute to the fullest, and you have to have the right idea with the ability to do it.
Boy, am I going to get in. Why am I going to get in so much trouble? Worry about your game, not your audience. I mean, when you talk about cult classics, I've said this to enough people that I wanted to fund my games that I'm kind of stupid. And this is a well-practiced line, so I'm not making this up. I make the games I want to make, the way I want to make them, and if you don't want that, let's part ways now and stay friends. That's how you make cult classics and not Call of Duty games.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at film as a parallel, there are a lot of great 80s cult classic movies that a director, writer wanted to make, and they had a vision and they made it, whether you liked it or not, and enough people like it that it becomes a cult classic, even if it's like rejected immediately by all the movie studios or whatever.
Yeah, the other thing I'd say is, no matter what you do, whether you're a software developer that has nothing to do with games, or if you're a game developer, whatever, know your success criteria. If your goal is to make a lot of money, you make a certain kind of game or you make a certain kind of product. If your goal is different, which mine are, I mean, I have a variety of very clear success criteria, which I'd rather not talk about. But know how you define success. I think that's important if you want to make a cult classic, and that's part of that is the result of your success criteria. Or if you're doing anything, I mean, not to overstate, if you're doing anything in life, know what success looks like for you, and then go after it. Figure out how to achieve that, not what someone else tells you need to do to be a success.
At the beginning, success is just finishing a game.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah.
Even a small one.
Well, that's actually, you asked about indie stuff, and I would take that a step further. People ask me all the time what they can do to get into the industry. Finish something.
Yeah.
I mean, showing that you can finish something is probably the most important thing you can do.
Yeah. Start small.
And interesting in your case especially, there's aesthetics that play into it as well to make it a cult classic to a degree. You said the same with like 1980s movies. Some of them were actually atrocious movies, but they had a certain style to them.
Yeah.
And people remembered it. Which brings me to an interesting point. Like, there's so many movies that came out that are based on computer games, and I have yet see one that makes me excited. I think the most hilarious one was Max Payne, where the movie was like, the game was like really had a great aesthetic, and you felt like, and the movie was just
Yeah.
Like, do you think there is? I mean, we had like games, movies turned into games in the 80s, and then like we had the Indiana Jones games and these kind of things, and for every movie there was a horrible game that they tried to sell as an add-on to it. Ghostbusters was good, but fair enough. But the other way around, I've never seen that happening. Do you think a game has a certain aesthetic that a movie just can't replicate?
I got to tell a story. You haven't heard this, but I was out looking for a film deal for Thief, and I was talking to a lot of producers and producer people, and there was one group that was interested in Thief that was, I'm choosing my words very carefully because I really do want to work again. They were working on a film that might have had something to do, that you might have had something to do with. And I asked, what did you think of the game? And their response was, why would we play the game? Which was appalling, and we did not make a deal with them.
Yeah.
But things have changed. I mean, what was it? The last Mario movie was one of the highest grossing movies ever.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, that was like Hollywood's invading, the game industry, and they're trying to figure out how to work with each other to like raise the profile of IP. And since the 90s, I think they have finally now getting how to translate, a game to a movie. It's taken decades to finally get there.
You know why that is? It's because all the people who didn't get games are dead now. and everybody who's making movies is a gamer. It's true. You talk to these people, and they're all nerds. It's awesome.
And they're probably using Unreal to make the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't overdo it, and then you got things like the Emoji Movie or the Angry Birds movie, and these kind of things, or franchises being cooked out. I mean, how many Shrek movies are there? 25, 67, something like that. It's just it's bizarre how everything becomes like a franchise that gets on and on and on. I mean, I asked you this already and you didn't know, but now you know, so that's good. And I feel like I'm attacked by a bot army there because everybody's asking about that whole thing about the Stop Killing Games initiative. What is your take on that one?
I can't remember. What is the Stop Killing Games thing?
This is a problem for the Stop Killing Games initiative. They need to hire a PR company.
There seems to be a branding issue. Like, the idea is that actually companies are now making games that can be turned off.
Turned off. Well, that started with like Facebook. Like Facebook games were shut off anytime they wanted to. They just like, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars in this little decorator type game, and now it's offline.
Yeah.
Like tons of people losing their money. This is 15 years at least. It's been going on. So I understand that initiative. There's got to be like I play Ghost Recon Breakpoint in my spare time sometimes, and that game has been out for 6 years now. Love that game. Please make an offline mode, because if they shut the servers down, it's not a multiplayer. It's not a game that needs to be running in multiplayer mode. It is a single player game. So I don't care if they shut that game down as long as I can still play it offline. But like having an offline mode is one of those stop killing games. Can you just do it offline?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not worth playing though. Like I would not play Minecraft by myself. I wouldn't play like games that are social games. A lot of people are in there because they want to see their friends or help friends, because a lot of the social game mechanics are helping your friend out with what they're trying to do. And if you kill that whole network effect, you're like, why am I playing this thing?
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate, though, I can't believe I'm going to say this. You know, businesses are in business to make money, right? And if there's no more money in something, they have no incentive to keep it going.
Yeah.
So what do? I mean, it's a tough problem. Do you go to the community and say, hey, folks, you know, hack something together? You know, do you say that if you're a company? Put your IP at risk? It's a tough problem.
That. Like World of Warcraft, you could play on a pirate server. And that's like one of the biggest network topologies to replicate to keep going. And they've done that for a long, long, long time. It just takes enough people like to care to keep something going. But not every game out there has a base that's technical enough to keep it going that way. But like, the way we started this industry was a fire and forget game. They're all offline. If we get back to that, then we don't have a problem. There's no shutting things off. You just sell it and move on.
Well, we have the same in like normal software development as well. I mean, there's this thing that I call farm sourcing. Like when a company doesn't want to maintain a product anymore because it's not fashionable anymore, it doesn't make any money, they open source it and hope a magical community will maintain it for them. So it's going to the farm where software lives and is happy. Never works, but actually is always a great thing when people say, now we make it open source. And you're like, if you open source something, you also have to support the community. Yeah, and people do not.
The problem is if Disney did that, they could lose the rights to Mickey Mouse. I mean, that's a huge issue. The value, okay, unless you're like Rockstar or somebody like that, the value in your company is the IP you create.
Absolutely.
And the ongoing support you can give game after game after game. The sales are important, but it's the ongoing value of the IP. And risking losing that for a big company is very, very hard.
One of the interesting a case study would be the Doom and Quake IPs, which continue constantly to today.
Absolutely.
id Software's still around. If they weren't, then it's going to be public domain, right? But those communities are still creating content. They're it's been going. It's like a fire hose, nonstop. Both of those games, and with Quake, even with Doom, people are playing multiplayer constantly all the time because we allow them to make dedicated servers. You can go ahead, start one up. Quake like immediately you make a dedicated server. You own it. You run it. And people connect to it, and you have a community, and we allowed that. That was like allowing your game to be modded and allowing people to.
You didn't just allow it; you kind of created the idea of community. I mean, I'm still learning about that. I've never done it, except like on the games I've worked on, community was built around people sharing text messages and emails and blog posts and talking about their experience. It wasn't living the experience and showing off and having influencers playing your game and involving people early in development. I mean, you guys did all of that.
Yeah.
And it like 35 years ago.
One of the things, I think part of it comes from in the 80s with Ultima, which I loved Ultima so much.
I did not work on Ultima 5.
I know.
Okay. he insists
I love
worked
5.
on Ultima 5.
I was playing 4, I'd say. I was playing Ultima 4, classic, obviously. Like, it's legend. It's a Hall of Fame game. And I thought I was the only person doing this, but my friend, I was in Salt Lake City. My friend is in California, and we both have Ultima 4. He's on an Atari 800. I'm on an Apple II, and we had a duophone call long distance.
Oh my God.
And we're live, and we're both playing co-op on our own machines. Okay, go to Castle Britain. Okay, go inside. All right, when I'm inside, I'm gonna go. Let's go north through that door. And so we're playing the same game on different computers, different states. There's no such thing as like online, but we were doing it simultaneously together, talking our way through. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take a note of that, and that's how we played that game. The long distance bill was insane. Right, because there's hours and hours, and I found out someone else was doing that back then too.
That just made my day.
And I mean,
Wow.
you were lucky because local distance calls were free in America and they were not free in Europe either. We had to find ways around that stuff as well.
This was a long distance call from state to state.
Okay, I mean, I had a BBS running, so basically we had to do all kind of weird stuff to make that happen. An interesting one here. Should society allow games which have addictive mechanisms into to generate more profit, like loot boxing? What addictive mechanics would you forbid as a father and game designer?
Forbid loot boxes?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's yeah.
Oh, we solved that problem.
I'm usually more verbose than that, but I don't think this requires it.
But what do you do when you're a game designer and your publisher asks you to build that, to make it part of the contract that is on page 67 that you didn't read?
Go ahead.
I would say pick a mechanic that everyone accepts, that maybe like it, such as opening up a pack of cards in a game. That's basically a loot pack, right? You open it up, and here's the random assortment of cards you get. That's Hearthstone. That's like all card games pretty much right now. That is something that you are paying for. You know, in Hearthstone, you are buying those packs.
Sure.
And people are doing it because they do it in real life, Magic and in Pokemon and everything, right? It's accepted. It's a thing that people do and they accept it. So go with the thing people understand and like.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's make the right kind of game, I guess, and it's okay. But for me to put that in one of my games would be actively evil. So I don't think it. I think you have to make the right game where it makes sense, not just do it for financial reasons. One of the things. This is the worst advice you're going to get at this conference. Do not do what I'm about to say. One of the things I learned this from Chris Roberts, who was the director and creator of Wing Commander. The power of the word no. I have said no to a variety of things in my life. Deus Ex, just make a shooter. No. Epic Mickey, just make a platform game. No. Put loot boxes in your game. No. And, again, don't do this, okay? I've always been willing to walk away if I don't get to do what I want to do. And, I'm very lucky in that. And also, very stupid because I really am willing to walk away. I'll open a bookstore or something, lose money that way. You got to be true to your own sort of sense of ethics. But, John's right. If you make the right kind of game, go, go, go. But if you try to squeeze it into a game where it's inappropriate, I think that's where you run into trouble, and you just have to say no. Don't do this. Oh, God.
There is a game where you open packs of cards all the time, but there's no premium cash. You're not putting money into it. It's a game called Balatro.
Never heard of that. Wait a minute.
If you haven't heard of it, you need to.
Oh my God, yes. Oh no, I don't talk about games I'm.
We don't talk about Balatro. So good.
How do you feel about when speedrunners break a game?
Speedrunners?
Yeah.
I love it. It's hilarious to watch those videos, especially when the developer's sitting there watching the speedrunner video or whatever ruin it. It just goes to show, like, well, you didn't QA your game enough. You didn't test it enough. They're able to break that.
Or you tested it enough and said, hey, this is cool. I love it. Once someone buys your game, it's theirs. It's not yours anymore. It's out there in the wild, and people can do whatever they want with it, And I'll tell you, this is not a new phenomenon. Being able to see it in real time is new. But when we were working on Underworld, we had a tester who figured out that you could plant the silver seed down low in the dungeon and be up on the first level and kill yourself or allow yourself to be killed and be resurrected on the bottom so you could go back and forth really quickly. And he got through that game in 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which at the time was a real accomplishment. I mean, now you could probably finish it in 45 seconds, but it was, we just looked at this guy and said, oh my God, that was clever. That's like the point of immersive sims, you know, to figure out stuff that's logical, that makes you feel creative, that allows you to tell your own story. So speedrunners, go.
That was the Ultima 7 expansion, right?
No.
Wasn't it?
That was
Overseas?
that was the first fully textured real-time 3D game.
Oh, Ultima Unreal. Ultima Unreal,
Ever.
yeah.
Not that I'm bitter, Castle Wolfenstein.
Catacomb 3D.
All right, he knows more about game history than I do. Come on.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, if somebody finds an issue like that or a bug like that and must a speedrun like that, that's one thing. You gave a whole talk about cheats and about like speedruns because of like malware injecting things. One of the biggest things that I had when I worked for Microsoft, and I'm a big believer in working from home. And the biggest issue that we had is that a lot of people had their kids during COVID play games on their parents' Microsoft laptops and download random game cheats and then had malware on them. And that was basically one of the things where I said, like, you're all coming back to the office, you're not using your laptops at home anymore. So there is a huge advantage to actually build malicious game cheat engines out there. Like, you talked about it to a degree.
Yeah, mouse jigglers and stuff like that.
Do you think that's parents not looking at what their kids are doing, or is it just like they will find a way?
I don't understand how you can leave your computer for the kids to use. Like, create another profile, like, do something, log out. But geez, I can't even imagine letting your kid on your work computer.
People at Microsoft probably aren't technically savvy enough to do that.
Oh, lovely. Okay, what else did we get in? There's lots and lots of licensing stuff. Shout out to Fallout London. Okay. What's your stance on DRM in games and the performance impact of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat and mouse, never going to end. Performance, it's already bad enough on Windows machines that you have to run antivirus and malware in real time, checking your registry constantly, and trying to make a game run, and have DRM running here. It's just, it ruins performance of everything. You know, like all the stuff that you have to run. That's why I use a Mac. I don't have to run any of that.
Well, also the file system is built differently, so that already is a faster I/O than on Windows.
Yeah.
When I worked in Microsoft, we always tried to make make the Finder as fast as Spotlight, and it was impossible because the operating system, the file system, was a different thing already.
100%.
That's why you got the DS files in every FTP that you send to Windows people, and like, what?
That's interesting. I'm a Mac guy too.
Yeah.
I guess
been Mac.
I guess weirdly enough, we all are as developers, but you don't see them much at open source conferences talking about free stuff. That's weird. But let's not talk about that. Okay, I love that one. Mankind is being confronted with massive risks like climate change, global nuclear conflicts, pandemics. Can video games contribute to a solution?
I can't talk about my next game.
Absolutely.
Nobody
right?
heard that.
Yeah. I mean, there's God, what is the there's that one thing that people are playing online. I don't know if it was Google, but it was basically everybody was contributing towards trying to figure out cancer and solve cancer. Everybody's playing a game and they're solving a little piece of a big problem for scientists. And yes, you can do that. It's almost like, you know, can we use games to teach kids better than schools do? You know, it's like you can use games to do everything.
That's sorry, I can't
go ahead.
Yeah. That's actually part of my whole thing. I mean, I don't want to just make games that allow people to waste some time or show off their Twitch skills or anything like that. Deus Ex wasn't about how do you kill Walton Simons or do you kill Walton Simons. It was about what's the right state of the world, and the game was about you know, how does the world work and what does it mean to be human, and what we can do is we can ask those questions in games. We don't have to say, I mean, no one will ever know what I think is the right end game for that game. And you learn about that end game, those 3 end games, by talking to people in the world and interacting with them and learning what I'm a very pretentious guy. Okay, just get ready for it. You learn about the various ideologies behind the 3 end games by talking to NPCs and by how you play the game. And the most exciting thing to me is when I hear people say, how could you think that was the right end game? How is giving into a sentient AI the right thing to do? They argue about that 25 years later. They're still arguing about that. So what I tell my team all the time is, one of my success criteria is, are people arguing about the meaning of the game as they express their answer through play? Again, I dropped out of a PhD program to make games, so I'm a pretentious guy.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I think you can make games that they don't contribute to the solution, but they can get people thinking about the potential solutions and the situation we're living in now. Games even a fantasy game can be about real world issues. And I mean, every game I work on tries to do that. Even Epic Mickey did that. Is it more important to be powerful and alone, or to have friends who will help you and be less powerful? That's a key question in Epic Mickey.
It's interesting because when you see it also in media, like kids programs like Bluey, for example, show really cool values to people. There's no villains, there's no evil things, there's just people helping each other, real problems being discussed that humans have. I love that we take a whimsical thing, like as a scene, like a game or kids program, and actually bring good values early into the process. What I really loved was my parents, both dead now, but they hated computers, like they didn't know what things were. They hated my C64, they hated my PC later on. But when I got a Wii for Christmas, and basically I'm like, you can play tennis if you do that, they were part of it. And I saw like homes for the elderly where they've used Wiis so people have at least some movement and do something.
Sure.
And this is where the physical aspect came in that I really, really loved a bit. We're kind of out of time, sadly enough, but we had lots of interesting questions for you. I think we should do a conference with the 3 of us next time.
Sounds good.
Do like discussions about old things.
All right.
I want to thank you so much to be part of this, and I wish you all the good luck with we have right now what's happening. And yeah, I mean, nothing can take away what you've done so far. You gave people games that they remember. That it's a bit like a band. Like as a band, you made a song, but everybody has a different emotional experience with that song, and that's why they remember it. And I think it's the same with games once you've succeeded them, or with friends and you share with them. So thanks for everything you've done. This was really lovely.
I made a game that people like. He changed the world.
Oh, he allowed like cool riffs and guitar riffs and like hardcore KMFDM songs into people's things. So yeah. Thanks very much.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks for having me.
All right, great questions.